we've skipped over great portions of Tobit, including even today skipping around in the reading. But basically, so we skipped over how we heard yesterday that God was sending Raphael to take care of him, but that he came in disguise as Azariah, and that then Tobit is able to get him to take Tobiah off to the country because he remembers, after he prayed, what a coincidence that he had left money with Gabael. And so he sends him off to go get that money from Gabael. And so they're going along, and then they have this fish that kind of gets caught on Tobiah's foot, and so he grabs that, and Azariah / Raphael says, well, take that, we can use that for curing someone who has cataracts. I don't know if he specifically says from bird poop or not, but and also that it can also drive away certain types of demons. So they go through all that, and then they get ready to get to the town, which we hear about a little bit today, and then Raphael explains to Tobiah what he's supposed to do and how he's supposed to drive away the demon. And so they skip over that piece, and then they go into this whole thing about building up the marriage contract and this beautiful prayer of Tobiah and Sarah as they go into the wedding night. They skip over the part where they put the fish parts on the incense and let that smoke rise up. And how Raphael then goes off and takes care of the demon. They also skip the part where Sarah's father digs a grave in the night so that if Tobiah dies, he can sneak him out and put him into the grave. And he looks in and says, oh, he's still alive. So they go and cover up the grave again. Skip over a lot of this stuff. It's kind of fun. As my friend who wrote the musical comedy on Tobit said, Tobit is really the comic relief of the Bible. I invite you to read through the whole story. It's a beautiful, beautiful story, and it's not that long. In the Gospel today, we hear these important commandments. And so this scribe, this theologian, comes to Jesus and asks a fairly typical question. There was a saying, recite the whole Torah while standing on one foot, meaning basically summarize what the Torah is. And so different rabbis, different theologians would come up with this or that or the other thing. And so he's basically asking Jesus, what's your summary of the Torah? He says, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. The second is you shall love your neighbor as yourself. That's it. Those are the highest commandments. And you can see the scribe just, oh, whoa, yes, that is it. As I was praying through this morning, suddenly my mind then went to after the resurrection, as Jesus is on the shore of Galilee with Peter. And he says to Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? Now, what is he talking about when he says, when you love me more than these? Well, we don't really know. He could either be saying, do you love me more than these other disciples love me? Or he could be pointing, because he's been out fishing again, and he had given up fishing when he followed the Lord. He says, do you love me more than these? Meaning the things of your trade, the things of the earth. Not really sure exactly what he meant. Maybe he meant both. And Jesus asks us, do you love me more than these? Do you love me more than the things of life, the things of this world? You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. And there's this invitation to look and say, are there things in our lives that we love more than Almighty God? Are there things that we're clinging to? And this convicts me every time I pray through this, because I know I need to. There are relationships, there are things in my life, there is stuff that I cling to that I'm not ready to let go of if God asks me. Do you love me more than these? And that's where really the rubber meets the road. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. Doesn't mean that we have to give up everything, but we have to look and say, where are my attachments? Do I love these things more than I love God? If He asked me to give this up, would I be able to do it? How hard would it be? Then you shall love your neighbor as yourself. In another place, another reading of this, in I think it's the Gospel of Luke, when this whole thing comes up, one of the person who's asking the question says, "And who is my neighbor?" And you get the whole Good Samaritan story, right? Do we love the people around us? And who is our neighbor? Well, every person with whom we have contact. What are the areas where we struggle with this? Let us ask the Lord today that He pour out a superabundance of His grace to help us to grow in love. It's the love of self-donation, giving ourselves fully to the Lord in mind, heart, soul, strength, and to love our neighbor as ourselves.